पधारोनी मारे देश रे पधारोनी मारे केसरिया पालम आओगे पधारोनी પધારોની મારે દેશ રે પધારોની મારે કેસરિયા પાલન આવો ને પધારોની મારે દેશ
Yes. Hello, sir. No, it's- Hello everyone and welcome to the live streaming of the inaugural ceremony of DJIME in Nimrana, Rajasthan, India. Today, to grace the inauguration ceremony, we have with us Mr. Kanwaljit Java and Mr. Kuldeep Ranka, who is joining us online, Mr. Sujan Chinoy and Mr. Shingo Miyamoto. Right now, we are at the plaque unveiling ceremony, and I request all the guests to do the honors. We are now moving towards the ribbon cutting ceremony, and I request all the dignitaries to do the honors. Light is a universal symbol of truth and knowledge, and since this institute will spread its shine on thousands of students to come, we now request our dignitaries to kindly move towards the lamp lighting and now and do the honors. And now we are moving towards the lecture area for rest of the ceremony. Kindly join us and enjoy the virtual tour of the state-of-the-art facility here at DJIME in Nimrana.
We'll just start in another maybe 5 minutes. So apologies to all of you to keep waiting in the hot sun. Today it seems the traffic was less and everybody could reach in time. And also it was really very hot. Good for us though. And although it's also good that when you come from outside from the hot weather, the AC looks more effective. So probably that also was a strategy, but please pardon us if it was inconvenient. And now onwards, everything is in the air-conditioned environment. We'll just start in few minutes, please. Good morning, all. Respected Mr. Sujan Chennai, ex-ambassador of India to Japan, Mr. Shingo Miyamoto, Minister Japan Embassy, Mr. Kanda from AOTS, Mr. Daikaku from JETRO, our own Mr. Java, other dignitaries from RICO, Then Mr. Kuldeep Ranka, our chief guest, Principal Secretary, Rajasthan Government, and Chairman RICO, who could not make it to this event physically, but he would be joining us online very shortly. Mr. Minano-san, Senior Executive Officer from Daikin, Japan, who is joining this ceremony online. And just to let you know that this ceremony is being telecasted live all over within Daikin affiliates, our channel partners, and our other well-wishers. I welcome all my colleagues, my dealer friends, architects and consultants who are physically present here and are online. Ladies and gentlemen, we had a dream to transform the industry and contribute to our society, a dream to touch lives of those who did not have opportunity to and means to study and provide them much needed skills that would help the biggest concern for the industrial growth in the future. Being at a position of thought leadership, Daikin took the responsibility of addressing that very crisis, yet what started as a business need very quickly transformed into a bigger objective of developing the society and contributing to the nation. Skill gap had its own complications in our education system and increasing unemployment in our country. On one side, companies are looking for manpower, and on the other side, millions are jobless. Millions of young boys and girls don't have jobs to sustain their livelihood. We realized that it was imperative to provide vocational training and to reskill them and upskill them to make them relevant workforce and employable. We began with few initiatives. We started with Center of Excellences, 19 as of now, and our mentor, Mr. Manoj Kumar, retired IAS, is with us, who gave this opportunity in the beginning, and today, sir, we are on 19 Center of Excellences. We have institute collaboration with 60 institutes. We have partnership with many community colleges, not to benefit our company, but to benefit the entire industry. While we were engaged in all these skill enhancement activities, the government of India and Japan noticed us. While signing a memorandum of cooperation in November 2016 between Japanese government and Indian government in November 2016 for opening Japanese India Institute of Manufacturing Excellence. And Shinai sir was responsible for that. Thank you, sir. You gave us the opportunity of opening the first COE among the 3 COEs, one being Daikin and the other 2 being Toyota and Suzuki. We started this gym from our state-of-art ACDC center because we did not have the building, and we took a bold step to start with all-female batch. First time in the industry, we took the initiative in this area of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This bold step paid great dividends to us for sure. Today, 14% of our factory workforce in Nimrana is from the diversity gender. And it is probably the highest, and they are more productive also. Ladies and gentlemen, then came the Rajasthan government and RICO to our support. They gave us this land, and we have RICO officers today here. We thank you for this. Thank you very much, sir, for this kind gesture. We always had a dream that we would have one day our own campus. I still remember Mr. Java had this dream from 2015 or 16, and today you will see this campus. You have seen a part of it by default, but you will see when we'll take you to the tour that we have tried to create a global kind of an institute. The first phase of 3,000 square meters have been constructed. We did it in early 2020, but then COVID came. That's why we could not inaugurate it. Another 5,000 square meter is lying for our future expansion for hostel and other things. We would be running short-term to mid-term certification courses in the areas of manufacturing in HVAC trade. To begin with, our students would learn Japanese way of doing things and focus on soft skills and etiquettes. Initially, we are offering free of cost. We have 2 batches. One batch is being put in our ACDC, and this is all free of cost. Rather, we are paying them. So we are starting with 2 batches right now to make sure that their lives are more fruitful and more productive. And now I conclude with a strong belief, quoting the strong belief of our chairman and MD, Mr. Java. Individually, we can break barriers, but collectively, we can create a new horizon. With this, it is my request to all the companies from the Nimrana zone, and we would request you all to please give an opportunity to these students in your companies also. We have put our heart and soul in this initiative. Together, we are sure we can create a better tomorrow for India. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Thank you. Before I request the honorable guests to share their words of wisdom, we would like to show you a small video through which how we started this concept. May I request to play the video, please? Thank you. Okay, there is small change. Mr. Ranka is online from Jaipur. So before we go in for the video, I would request Mr. Ranka. Mr. Kuldeep Ranka is Principal Secretary to CM Rajasthan and Chairman RICO, and is an IS officer of 1994 batch. In addition to these posts, he is in charge for Forest and Environment, Arts and Culture departments. Now, let's request Mr. Ranka to please share his speech with us. Thank you. Mr. Ranka, you seem to be on mute, please.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. So, Oyo gozaimasu. Oyo gozaimasu. It gives me immense pleasure to be part of the inaugural ceremony today with the inauguration of Daikin Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence. I'm very happy to be here today. I wanted to be physically present in Nimrana, but owing to certain constraints, I couldn't join from there. I must mention that Mr. Kawaljeet Jawasan has been quite proactive in getting this institute on ground. I would like to also place appreciation for Mr. Sujan Chinoy, who has joined us, the former ambassador of India to China, and Mr. Mineno San, who has joined all the way from Japan. We all are aware that manufacturing excellence requires an ecosystem, and Nimrana is one of the best suited places for such an ecosystem. As we all are aware, there are about 45 functional units working in the Nimrana industrial area, and 5 more would be starting their operations soon. We have a workforce of 25,000 working in these units. It has been a long journey. I recollect the days when I was managing director, Rajasthan Industrial Development Corporation. We had a series of meetings before signing an MOU in July 2006 with JETRO. And thereafter, we had a lot of interaction with the business delegations. We had conferences, and then we came to the conclusion that a country-specific enclave could be established in Nimrana. The state government and JETRO both worked together to bring this dream true. And today we have a very flourishing industrial enclave in Nimrana. It is the first country-specific enclave, and therefore it was an innovation in that way. We understood that the Japanese units would not only like a work culture, but they would also like to have a socio-cultural milieu which is suitable for their day-to-day living. It was very dedicated. It was a hard work of the dedicated team on both the sides, which culminated finally into the industrial enclave there. We all are aware that Rajasthan has a major share in the Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor passing through this state. 44% of the corridor passes through the physical boundaries of this state. The proximity to national capital region, the law and order situation, better availability of human resources, and many such other factors contributed to growth of industries in this part of this state. We are happy that the experience of Japanese units so far has been very good here. Whenever we interact with them individually and collectively, they have always said that they have prospered, grown, and have got adequate support from the state and the local administration. There have been challenges from time to time. Daikin unit itself has faced some challenges. But as we all are aware, the state government has firmly stood behind them. There has been a will over a period of time to support and allow the industries to grow in this area. This new institute for capacity building of human resources will help us in today's dynamic scenario. The manufacturing excellence is an evolving concept. The Japanese manufacturing principle of zero defect manufacturing is known worldwide. This even surpasses standards which are set in Six Sigma protocols of quality management. The zero inventory mechanism of just in time, which has been perfected over years by Japanese manufacturing units, is still being taught in our enterprises, and a lot of our workforce is learning to live with this concept. Zero inventory mechanism to reduce the data stocks, improve the efficiencies, and bring about changes in the cost of production helps in competitiveness in today's global environment. I must thank METI also on this occasion the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, Government of Japan, for considering to set up an institute in the state of Rajasthan. I'm told METI had approved for 4 such institutes in India, and in 2017, one such institute was allocated to Daikin in Nimrana industrial area. RICO also supported the initiative by allotting 5 acres land at token price of 1 rupee. I must also take the opportunity of this inaugural ceremony to inform all the participants that the state has been pursuing its industrialization policy very aggressively. After taking over by the present government in December 2018, there have been a series of major reforms in the state. We had taken up the reform of requiring no clearances for micro, small, and medium enterprises for initial 3 years for setting up of the enterprises in the state. Under this act, the Facilitation Act for Micro, Small, and Medium Industries, no entity is required to take any permission under any state law or state rules, because initially they are engrossed in setting up the enterprise. And once they have set up their enterprise and they are flourishing, they could take the clearances after 3 years. They only have to give a self-declaration that they are following all the laws and regulations. And thereafter, after completion of 3 years, they can take the clearances within 6 months. Similarly, the Rajasthan Investment Promotion Scheme, new scheme was launched in the year 2019. Industrial development policy was also launched, and we also brought out a major reform, which is called One Stop Shop Act. By this act, all the clearances have now been brought under one roof. So all the officers, agencies who have to give clearances under the central and state laws, which have been reduced over a period of time, are given under one roof. This is vigorously being monitored at the highest level. A board of investment has been set up under the chairmanship of the Chief Minister so that all the customized packages could be cleared at the appropriate level, and there is no delay in sanctioning the customized package. As we all are aware, the COVID had impacted our economies and the industries across the globe. There has been a pent-up demand which has now shown the signs of improvement, and all across the globe and in our country, there has been huge growth in all sectors. Government of India had also announced the scheme of production-linked incentives for various sectors to revive the economy. Daikin and other companies, I'm told, are taking benefit of this scheme. The state is taking all-out measures to ensure that there is growth, there is employment, and we all can prosper together. The local administration is aware of these goals of the state government. Yesterday only, there was an investment promotion seminar come conference at Alwar, the district headquarters of Nimrana industrial area. The political leadership, the bureaucracy, the entrepreneurs, everyone is equally concerned and share the common goal of creating jobs, prosperity, and growth. India as a market offers great potential for such enterprises. I'm aware that I had met a number of delegations at Nimrana, Jaipur, and Delhi from the year 2005 to 2008 when I was working as Managing Director RICO. During that period, large number of our friends from Japan had shown interest, and many of them have come to this state. We have also opened up a new industrial enclave opposite the existing Japanese zone. That's the Giloth industrial area. I would urge all our friends from Japan who are connected today to look into the possibilities for further investments in this state. The state assures of all possible cooperation and a very healthy partnership in times to come. I must thank Daikin for making all efforts to ensure that they can train at least 1,000 youth every year to keep pace with the changing manufacturing practices. This institute will inculcate a climate for skill upgradation in the youth of the state, and they would be able to prepare themselves for the emerging technologies and emerging manufacturing practices. I'm sure this will help all the units here and also outside the industrial area. I must thank Mr. Kawaljeet San, Mr. Suzan Chinoy, and Mr. Mineno San for taking time off their busy schedules and being present in this ceremony. I must also thank all our Japanese entrepreneurs in Nimrana who have all along been very supportive of the initiatives of the state government. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Ranka, for your words of wisdom. And we assure you, we would become an institute for Rajasthan government as an icon in Nimrana as well as in Rajasthan. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Before we proceed to the next event, next activity, we have a small formality to complete. May I request Mr. Java to please give a bouquet to Mr. Chinoy. Mr. Java, you be here. May I request Mr. Shingo Piyamato to please. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Java. May I now request Mr. Surumaru to please give a bouquet to Mr. Kanda from AOTS. Thank you. Please, Mr. Surumaru, just.
जागृति, अब तू भी आगे बढ़ सकती है। अरे सुन तो, ये बहुत ही अच्छा कॉलेज है।
इसमें क्या फायदा? पैसे तो इसमें भी देने पड़ेंगे।
ले, अपनी आंखों से खुद पढ़ ले। यहाँ सिर्फ प्रतिभाएं देखी जाती है, पैसा नहीं। जापान और इंडिया के आपसी सहयोग से डेक्कन जिम्स बने हुए हैं।
पापा, 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 मैं आगे और बढ़ सकती हूँ। हमारे सपनों को अब डाइकिन साकार करेगा। हम सीखेंगे भी दुनिया की सबसे बढ़िया जापानी तकनीक से। हाँ कर दो प्लीज।
अब चलना।
जब हम मर जाए हैं तब पंखा सही होए।
देखो उड़ी रे देखो उड़ी रे उड़ गई मंच
बोलेगी कि लोग का बोली हैं? लोग बोली हैं मोड़ी भी वरदान होवे, तो हमारी जागृति हमारा वरदान है।
So, I'm sure you all will agree what I said was correct about this video. And after this, we started our first batch of 30 girls, which was the JIME's first batch. Most of them are working with us in our factory, and we would like to take this further. Now, moving forward, I would like to invite someone who needs no introduction, Mr. Java, Chairman and Managing Director of Daikin India, member on board Daikin Industry Limited, Japan. Throughout his career spanning over 4 decades, Mr. Java has held various senior management positions with highly reputed air conditioning companies. After brief stints with Godrej, Blue Star and Voltas, Mr. Java joined Carrier in 1987, where he was one of the key founder members. His stint at Carrier lasted for 14 years. In 2001, Mr. Java joined Voltas, heading their cooling appliances business, and was the chief architect of revitalization of the Voltas brand in 2009. Mr. Java joined Daikin team in India in 2009, and within a very short span, Daikin brand has come from prominence to dominance, from number 6 to number 1. In June 2018, Mr. Java was appointed as the first Indian director, non-resident, on the board of Daikin Industries, Japan. His rise to Daikin board underscore his ability to surpass revenue and profit targets, delivering excellent service, optimizing business efficiency, thereby creating a sustainable business value. A renowned personality, a great motivator, and a far-sighted visionary, Mr. Java is well known for his forthright, positive, and constructive approach. More than this, Mr. Java has a very keen interest to develop skills and to educate the economically backward people in this country, and is always motivating to all the people whom we meet to join this industry. Let's give a very big hand to Mr. Java. Mr. Java, please.
APS, this was a surprise. I thought people know me, but anyway, thank you for your introduction. I know there are many, many people across the globe, not only in India, not only in Japan, not only in Jaipur, but I have few men and women who are sitting in this room. So my namaste, arigato gozaimasu, vanakkam, sat sri akal, adab. Our chief guest actually got a message from the Chief Minister this morning that maybe there were some law and order issues, and so he could not make it. But I was very, very touched that we got some additional bonus that, our guest of honor actually arrived little earlier, and I just took him to the factory and I was talking to him. I was very touched to that. Despite his busy schedule, the man behind this gym, Mr. Sujan Chinoy, actually could reach my factory today. So I took him to the factory 1, factory 2, and I'm sure, sir, you will be happy to speak. We are really honored. Mr. Sujan Chinoy is a former ambassador of India to Japan. Now he works very closely with the Prime Minister himself. I think I have a history. I have learned a lot during his ambassadorship in Japan. And if I actually start talking about it, the way we speak in Hindi, that perhaps so समुंदर की सारी शाही ख़त्म हो जाएगी और पेन की निब नहीं टूट जाएगी शायद. तो आई थिंक ये वो शख्स है, आप उनको सुनेंगे. The other delegate, Sri Shingo Miyamoto, Minister of Economics and Development, Japan Embassy. My old friend Daikoku-san, who has always been there when we want him. I only go to him when I'm in trouble. Thank you very much for coming. Delegates, Manoj Kumar ji, Acharya ji, I can't name all, Mukundan Sahab, Mr. Jain. I think this is a day for Daikin. And this is a great day for me personally, very, very momentous, because I have been in this industry for almost now 4+ decades. And right from day one, my dream has been skill development. I think we have many officers, administration, Nimrana, Jetro, RICO, Citizen Industries Limited, our recent acquired partners, Mr. Kamlesh Mehta, Praful ji, our many channel partners. Only few could come here physically, but I'm sure that all 11,000 numbers are connected virtually. My salam to them. My own Daikin team and all other esteemed guests. On behalf of Daikin, I may have forgotten some name like Payalji and all. Please excuse me, all names which I have not taken. So on behalf of Daikin India, it's my proud privilege to welcome you all on this great occasion, the inauguration of Daikin Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence at Nimrana today, for making April 8, 2022, a historic day for Daikin India. Let me tell you that actually this is not a Daikin Institute. This is an institute for the country. Of course, for many Japanese companies, including Daikin, and this is for people. This is actually DJIME, which we call it. It's a collaboration between the government of Japan and government of India to create a pool of skilled manpower. This is run independently with 20 members. Some of the members are sitting here, Mr. Khurana, Mr. Acharya, who are the board members of. Many could not join. I think this all initiative started in 2016, which was initiated by Mr. Sujan Chenoy, from a member of understanding signed in Tokyo between the Ministry of Economic of Trade and Industry, Government of Japan, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Government of India, for a manufacturing skill transfer promotion program. I think this was a big vision which was anticipated much before that Make in India or Self-Reliant Bharat or Atmanirbhar Bharat. So you can imagine that, how honored I will feel to be a part of this journey of Skilled India. This occasion affords us an opportunity to reflect collectively on the current employment situation of the youth, the progress that we have made in implementing practical programs, designing strategies, designing policies to empower the youth of the country, which includes women, to participate more meaningfully in the economic development of the nation, which is what our Prime Minister of Japan, Prime Minister of India has been talking about. The clarion is very, very clear. It is pertinent to mention that ability to access global opportunities for exchange depends on how skilled and trained workers are taking parts in the new opportunities, which is New India, which is Young India. Given the energy, enthusiasm, and innovativeness, young people of our country, who have recently, you must be hearing that a lot of new unicorns are coming, have the potential to contribute immensely to the socio-economic development of our nation. So they should be placed at the forefront of building of the economy of the country. If India has to become the world power, I think skill building is an instrument to empower the individuals and improve their social acceptance. This is a high priority item for us also in Daikin globally. Here I represent Daikin Japan, and this Daikin GYM, born out of Daikin's global corporate social responsibility vision, aims to offer skilling training program based on curriculum that will include on-the-job training, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, technical know-how, soft skills, and Japanese manufacturing processes, be it brazing, be it machine shop, or the technical side, on-the-spot guidance, technical. We aim to reach, educate, and certify a big army of 150,000 people, 150,000 Indian youth by 2025 to help the HVAC industry overcome the prevailing skill shortage. Having identified skill development as a challenge in India, Daikin India took this opportunity to make a positive change in the society by promoting empowerment of women by way of their employment. Daikin globally and also Daikin India is committed to support government initiatives of Make in India, Skill India initiatives for this DJIME. This campus is a positive step in that direction to build a better and a stronger India. It is located in Rajasthan, those who are on virtually connected, spread over 5 acres land, and which can accommodate 250 students in one session while operating at full strength. A skilled workforce is indispensable to the success of industry and the nation. Through JIM, we endeavor to make the youth industry ready, leading to higher socio-economic growth. Right here, I am committing that Daikin India will continue to move forward in that direction and improving the lives of youth and support them by enhancing their knowledge and skills in the Japanese manufacturing process and techniques. This is consistent with Daikin 2 prolonged strategy of skilling for the industry, leading to the benefit of society. I hope that this message reaches to our Prime Minister Japan and Prime Minister India. I'm sure it will reach, because these days we are virtually connected all over. I had an opportunity to meet the two great nations' prime ministers. Not only, I think the first time Mr. Sujan Chunai gave me an opportunity when we had, sir, that India-Tokyo summit, which was Indo-Africa summit. Today I'm happy to share with you that what we used to sell in India, this year we sold that in Africa, sir. That was a big, big step, which you showed us. And in India, Daikin has grown about 15 times in the last 10 years. So I think this is primarily because we do, or we follow localization in everything what we do, because we have skill, scale, and we have sustainability. I assure you that, be it today Statue of Unity, or be it Central Vista, or the 32 airports which have come in India, all are actually, air conditioning is done by. Every 11 seconds last year, we did 1 ton of air conditioning by the men and women of India in the country. India has a huge potential. We are the first company who was recognized by the Prime Minister Office, and this industry has been taken as a, now an industry which is along with furniture and, the leather industry as a sunrise industry. Mr. Mukundan is here, who is the Vice President of Rama. I have representatives from the industry. I have also the representative from the associations, and I think all the dignitaries who is who in matters to the manufacturing ecosystem, they are here today. So I think we are ready. We want to create a country which we can all see that, especially after the aftermath of the COVID crisis, China plus one strategy, I think India is ready. So this is the step in that direction. We have had many, many meetings in the last couple of months with the DPIT, with your friends like Rajiv Kumarji and all, Invest India, and also, the Niti Aayog. We have been getting very, very good response. This industry has actually given a commitment to the government of India that, has a potential to grow at least 10 times in the next few years. So this is one of the steps which we are trying to provide, because one of the big issue in this country was the skill shortage. So many, many teachers are here today who may have actually taught me air conditioning like Mr. Jain, but this is an opportunity, so I'm very, very, very thankful to all the dignitaries, including the Rajasthan government, the central government, and also particularly Mr. Sujan Chunai, and also my advisors like Mr. Acharya to have come here and grace this occasion. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Java. Your words are always very inspiring. And I remember when I joined in 2016, the only brief Mr. Java gave me was that we have to create an institute which should be something like an icon and should be remembered as what we have given back to the society. And I assure you, this is an icon which I have created. When we started this, it was a dream, as I said in the beginning. We never knew that we'll get land. We got it, again, thanks to RICO. Then we thought we should make a building which should be very unique to Neemrana. And the entire team, who was not even experienced, who did not have any experience from institute or, say, university and all, created this iconic building. And this is a unique building and a dream building for us in Daikin, as our society, as well as in Neemrana. Now I would like to invite on dais Mr. Shingo Miyamoto. Mr. Miyamoto is Minister, Economic and Development at the Embassy of Japan in India. Since his arrival to this post in September 2019, he has been energetically working on a wide range of works, such as bilateral cooperation between India and Japan, including the Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail project, specified skilled workers and Japanese language education. Let's give a big hand to Mr. Miyamoto. Mr. Miyamoto, please.
Java ji sir, Ambassador Chinoy, मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, नमस्ते। मेरा नाम शिंगो मियामोतो है। मैं दिल्ली में जापान एम्बेसी में काम करता हूँ। पहले से तो सबसे पहले माफ़ दीजिए, क्योंकि मेरी हिंदी थोड़ी अच्छी नहीं है, तो आज मैं अंग्रेज़ में बोलूँगा, ठीक है? Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. It's an honor, truly an honor, to have this opportunity to speak on this auspicious occasion. Now, I would like to remind you all that my Prime Minister was here in Delhi less than 1 month ago. And I urge you to go to the website of maybe MEA, I'm sure MEA has it, or also you could go to the Japanese Prime Minister's office's website. There will be a statement that was issued by our 2 Prime Ministers on the occasion of this visit. And you will see many, many good economic deliverables contained in this statement, including the common objective that they set for the 2 governments to work together with the private sector to achieve an investment of 5 trillion yen in the next 5 years. This is an amazing commitment. We actually set the goal to achieve 3.5 trillion yen in the past 5 years, which was achieved, even though we had the corona pandemic. Now we're shooting for 5 trillion yen. And I think Daikin will be a part of this. So thank you very much. There are other things that were included, like the Clean Energy Partnership. They welcome the starting of the Specified Skilled Worker Scheme, a lot of things. But among all of these good things, there was specific mention of gyms. I actually negotiated this document with the Indian government, word by word, until 5 minutes before the meeting ended, I was still negotiating because we had not agreed on 3 words. We managed to agree just 5 minutes before the press conference was supposed to begin, so it was all good. But there is a paragraph about JIME. And in this paragraph, the 2 prime ministers emphasize the importance of skilling and also promoting employment. And they noted the fact that over 3,700 Indians were trained in gyms across the country just in the past year. And they concurred that they would use this type of efforts to boost the number of Indians to be trained in the future. So you can see how important this is. Of course, the 2 prime ministers, within the limited amount of time they had to discuss, they would make sure that this would be included in the statement. So thank you to Daikin for doing this. It's really an important thing, and it will be one of the foundations of the friendship between our 2 countries, I'm sure. So thank you very much. The video was really nice as well. It actually made me almost want to cry. But I think it's a true story. So I really respect you for doing this. Daikin is, of course, an extremely respected company. Everyone knows Daikin. It has been in India, I guess, for 20 years now. And you have built a supply chain, across the country. And it has really become an Indian company. Many companies from Japan have come and become Indian, I would say, including countries like Daikin. Daikin, I think, is most prominent, but also Maruti Suzuki is very famous, everyone knows. I have a funny example, which is the first sentence that was in the first skit of my Hindi textbook. It's interesting because it's the first sentence that I was taught in Hindi, and it was like this. So a man points at a car outside the window, and he says, "Wo gari Japani hai," like this. And the child standing next to him says, "Wo gari Japani nahi hai, wo gari Maruti hai," like this. Okay? So I think if someone pointed at an AC and asked, "Wo AC Japani hai," some child here would say, "Wo AC Japani nahi hai, wo Daikin hai," like this. Hai na? I think it will be like this. So this is actually very, very important. We are here together, and we have combined the Japanese way of doing things to create something better, not just for India, but for around the world. This is exactly what we're aiming for. This is what was included in our 2 prime ministers' statement, and also in Prime Minister Modi's Make in India initiative. So I am so proud to be here today. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to you. Congratulations. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this year is the 70th anniversary of the diplomatic relations between our 2 countries. So this is so fitting that we are celebrating the opening of this great institution in this year. And I look forward to hundreds and hundreds of people being trained in this facility and getting better lives for the future. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Mr. Shingo. And as you said, the video is a true story of India, more so in this part of the country. And I'm sure this institute, as well as our earlier endeavors to empower the woman, would definitely act as an upliftment for the society over here to create more diversity. We all were very, I would say, happy to see your Hindi. It was very good. And I have an introduction of Mr. Chennai with me. But let me start with the end, sir. It's written Mr. Chennai is fluent in English, Chinese, and conversant in French, Spanish, German, Japanese, Arabic, Urdu, and French Creole. He also speaks Hindi and Gujarati. After so many languages, Hindi will be also, sir. So let me start again with a big thanks to you, sir. The foundation of this institute actually has been laid by you. So thank you very much once again. Mr. Chennai is the Director General of the Manohar Parrikar Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, New Delhi, a career diplomat of the Indian Foreign Service from 1981 to 2018. He was India's ambassador to Japan and the Republic of the Marshall Islands from 2015 to 2018, and earlier the ambassador to Mexico and High Commissioner to Belize. A specialist with over 25 years of experience on China, East Asia, and Asia Pacific, Mr. Chennai served in Indian missions in Hong Kong and Beijing, and as Consul General in Shanghai and Sydney. He also served as India's representative to the first committee at the United Nations in New York, dealing with disarmament and international security affairs, and in the Indian mission in Riyadh. At headquarters in the Ministry of External Affairs, he served as Director, China, as well as head of the expert group of diplomatic and military officials tasked with CBMS and boundary-related issues with China. He also served on the American desk dealing with the US and Canada, and as an officer on special duty in charge of press relations in the External Publicity Division. On deputation for 4 years with the National Security Council Secretariat under the Prime Minister's Office, he worked on internal and external national security policy and anchored strategic dialogues with key people around the world. With this, I would request your good self to please come and share your words with us.
He only got us the land.
Mr. Java says that he got us the land too. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, Mr. Gandhi, for that very warm and generous introduction. I'm not sure if I can live up to all that you have stated, especially the bit about speaking in multiple languages. But today I'm going to communicate in the Daikin language, which is one of excellence, one of speed, scale, skill, social responsibility. So that's the language we will speak today. Let me begin by firstly acknowledging the very kind and gracious invitation that Mr. Kamaljeet Java extended to me. Mr. Java, it's a great privilege for me to be here today on this very momentous occasion. You might call it the Daikin Day. And I also want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Miyamoto Shingo, Mr. Kuldeep Ranka, Mr. Devan, and all other members of the large Daikin family, as Mr. Java calls it, who are present here today. So warm greetings on my part to all of you. This is also, I should say, a coming out party of sorts for Daikin after the interregnum, the horrendous interregnum imposed on us by the COVID pandemic. And I want to congratulate you for beginning with such a big bang. That you should start with this very great occasion of inaugurating the Daikin Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence, which comes under the overall rubric of the Japan-India Institutes of Manufacturing. So congratulations. But I'm not surprised that Daikin should lead the way in this. And let me recall the fact that when we first conceptualized this a few years ago, when I was in Japan, in collaboration with the Japanese side, the thinking and the logic was that India is this large country with tremendous potential, a country that is going to, in fact, emerge as one of the 3 top economies in the world by the middle of this century, that we had this large population, a demographic dividend that the Prime Minister said should be molded such that we become the human resources capital of the world and that we serve ourselves well and the rest of the world as well. But in order to do that, to mainstream this large youthful population, the Prime Minister's vision was that we should skill every last man and woman, boy and girl. And the idea was that in this there could be no better partner than Japan. For Japan is known for its excellence in skilling, in training, in its very high standards of innovation, in its R&D. It is a country that leaves nothing to chance, seeks perfection, almost at an inhuman level, a perfection that ensures safety, security, shop floor standards that are second to none. And that is the context in which we thought that Japan would partner India to create centers of excellence. The other logic was that if all the Japanese companies were to set up such centers, and I wrote to about 500 of them soon after my reaching there, that if you were only to set up and set aside a small piece of land, even a shack, even a small workshop, to make this beginning, this could eventually become the nucleus for a revolutionary change in India. For you will have a cascading effect. You will train people for your own factories. You will also benefit if the overall environment in India, the ecosystem improves as a result of your empowering and training the young people of India. And one of the first companies to be off the block, so to speak, was Daikin. And there was a good reason for that. Not just the fact that Daikin is one of the best-known companies of Japan already with a great brand for itself, but it had something to do with individuals as well. And that individual is Mr. Kamaljit Java. It is his passion, his ability to see the big picture, including with an eye to the detailing of that idea and concept, that actually enabled us to take this forward. So in as much as I would like to take some credit for it, I'm afraid I must share that credit most generously with you and your colleagues for actually having brought it to this level. This center is simply a symbol of the hard work that the Daikin families put in. As I drove into Nimrana, I was struck by the fact that your factories here, your center, which is located a little way off from the factories, are really a part of that mini Japan that the Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, wanted to create in virtually every part of India. And I must congratulate the government of Rajasthan as well, and Daikin, for actually having contributed, as have other Japanese companies like Ricoh that gave the land, to the creation of this mini Japan here. On my part, as the honorary patron of the Indo-Japan Friendship Association in Gujarat, I must also say that I have created, with the help of my colleagues there, a mini Japan, a bit of Japan in the form of the first Zen Kaizen garden on the premises of the Ahmedabad Management Association. And those of you who in the course of your business or travel end up in Ahmedabad, please do visit that. And the very idea of having the word Kaizen associated with that garden is also to live up to the expectations that we in India, when we skill our people, we will follow the Japanese model of Zen, Kaizen, Monozukuri, and that we will, in fact, adopt their best practices, which will enable India to move up the value chain, emerge as a very large manufacturing center. In this, I should say, Daikin has really excelled all expectations. In the 10 years, as you've brought out, it is rare to see a company grow, from say roughly 350 crores worth of volume to 6,500 crores. And in that short period, you've also enabled your operations here to become a hub for India's own outreach to the external world, including Africa. So you're part of that very big process that is underway in India today, the realization of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, a country that will make a name for itself in terms of exports. You're part of that process that has enabled our exports to now breach more than $400 billion. And I'm sure that Daikin, with its immense energy and innovation, you are going to take it even further. As Mr. Miyamoto said, this is a momentous occasion for a number of reasons. This year we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties. Japan is a country that has a special strategic and global partnership with India. It is a country that is present in virtually every large infrastructure project in India, be it the high-speed railway, with which Mr. Miyamoto is also associated, but also the metros, also the Delhi-Mumbai industrial corridor, the dedicated freight corridors. We have Japan as a partner in virtually everything that we are attempting to do in terms of water, energy, food, and many other non-traditional areas of security. The Northeast, for example, a place which cries out for capacity building, for infrastructure, for skills, is also an area where Japan has emerged as a very major partner for us. Japan is, in fact, part of our Japan-India forum, which looks to enabling India's Act East policy dovetail with Japan's policy for enhanced partnership for quality infrastructure. And together, I think we can do a great deal more. I must also mention here that this is an occasion that must recall the most recent, very successful visit of His Excellency Mr. Fumio Kishida, the Prime Minister of Japan. The fact that he visited India so soon after the abating of the COVID pandemic is testament to our very close strategic ties. It was a very successful visit, as are the summits between India and Japan, and it added a great deal more to the content of our bilateral relationship. And one area which is of direct consequence to Daikin is the partnership in clean energy. As we look at a world that is increasingly challenged by climate change, it is a company like Daikin, with its excellence in technology, innovation, and R&D, that really can play a very big role in mitigating the effects of climate change. So that is something that is extraordinary. I am personally convinced that your efforts, Mr. Java, and those of your colleagues will pay rich dividends, for you are looking at this center of manufacturing excellence not merely to further your own interests, but also as part of the, again, Daikin way of giving back to society. In this, you have placed front and center something that is very close to the heart of the Prime Minister of India. He has a vision in which there is complete gender equality, a vision in which the girl child is educated and enabled and empowered. And you kicked off very early on with a batch of, I recall, 30 ladies who were trained here, and you've gone on to scale up those numbers as well. So let me not take any more time, but once again to reiterate my deep appreciation for this invitation, the extraordinary achievements that you have need to be recognized and celebrated by all of us. And we really hope that you will go on to scale even greater heights of success, you and the entire Daikin family. So thank you very much once again. Heartiest congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Shanai. A very comprehensive direction for us for future, and we will really put in our best efforts to move towards what vision you have shown us. We have been talking about our first batch of 30 female students. Let me also share with you, till now, before this institute this is going to start from today, so first batch would be somewhere in July. We would have some small certificate course before that, but we have two another batches running for JIME. Second batch has already given exams for their second year, and third batch has gone to the second year. We were running this from our air conditioning center, where we would have our lunch today. The seeds we planted years back have now turned into saplings. If we were able to water it and nourish it appropriately, hopefully we can turn this sapling into a tree someday. Our dream will truly bear fruits when we are able to fulfill the dreams of our youth. Let me share with you our next video showing what we would like to do or what we have done and which would be our guiding light to our new dream. Video, please.
आँखों में ख्वाब है पर मन में सवाल है, दुनिया की बातों ने किया ये तेरा हाल है। इन हालातों से आगे बढ़, तुझे बनना मिसाल है। ख्वाब को जी ले, आसमां को चूमती जा, उड़ती जा तू, उड़ती जा, नई उड़ान तू भरती जा, उड़ती जा तू, उड़ती जा। मंजिल पर बस रख नजर, देखना तू इधर उधर, बढ़ जा होके तूने डर, हिम्मत का है ये सफर, कामयाबी की सीढ़ी
दिशा कुमारी।
अपने हुनर को अपना हथियार बनाकर, ज्ञान की ढाल सीने से लगाकर, सक्षम है तू बस लड़ते जा, उड़ती जा तू, उड़ती जा, नई उड़ान तू भरती जा, उड़ती जा तू, उड़ती जा। कदम से अपने कदम मिलाकर, अपने सारे डर और सवाल मिटाकर, खुद पे यकीन का नए रास्ते बनाकर, दूर दूर तक बाहें फैलाकर, किस्मत अपनी बदलती जा, जहाँ तक खुला आसमां बाकी है, तुझे पता है तेरी उड़ान बाकी है।
इस साल का काइजन अवार्ड
अभी हासिल करने को और भी मुकाम बाकी है, अपनी खुली सोच से अपनी ही दिशा में मुड़ती जा, मील का पत्थर बनकर चारों दिशाओं में चलकर अपनी छाप
at Daikin believe that long-term success in any market, there must be a commitment to find sustainable solutions. Very early in our growth, we realized that to succeed and flourish in India, we must address the problems of skill shortages in manufacturing industry. Well, our Japanese DNA and Indian grit helps us find the most innovative solutions for the issues affecting our stakeholders. What started as a small experiment in skill development in HVAC industry has today become a force of nature and a blueprint for the entire Indian manufacturing ecosystems. Today, it's a matter of great pride that 14% of our workforce comprises of women who have broken away from social stigmas and cultural limitations and disadvantages. We hope that in the coming years, more and more women join Daikin. In India, Daikin is perfectly in sync with Honorable Prime Minister's Mr. Modi's clarion call of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. This ideology forms the very bedrock of our skill development mission. Our philosophy is to embrace diversity and equity in every forum. The Skill India mission and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative of Government of India are of great significance for us. Through this state-of-the-art and one-of-a-kind skill development campus and other Daikin centers of excellence spread all over India, we are training students to acquire Japanese manufacturing principles and success mantras. And all this is done with no burden of cost to the students. We aim to educate and upskill 30,000 youth in the coming decade so that they become Atmanirbhar. This campus is stepping stone in our efforts to enhance and nurture Indo-Japan ties. We are proud and humbled to play our part in nation building and wealth maximization of both these great nations. I, along with Daikin Global family, most humbly dedicate this campus of Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence to India and its youth. Thank you.
This speaks about the direction we are going to take for DJIME. And before I call my colleague Mr. Dewan for vote of thanks, I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank my team members, Argo, Tushar, Mr. Popli, SP Singh, VK, Varinder Singh, Hitesh Sharma, Pradeep Sharma, and all of the society members who have supported with their sweat and time to achieve this dream. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. Namaskar and konnichiwa. Leadership and learnings are indispensable to each other. Friends, firstly, on behalf of everyone in Daikin, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Shri Kuldeep Rankaji for showing his arms of support in this noble initiative through his virtual presence. Secondly, I thank Mr. Sujan Shinoy. The DJIME collaboration between India and Japan took roots in his presence. I'm sure Mr. Shinoy would be pleased to see how Daikin has stood up to his vision. Thirdly, I would like to thank Mr. Miyamoto-san and other representatives from Japanese embassies. Some of them are virtually joined, who always stood with us. Thanks to Daikaku-san from JETRO, Kanda-san from AOTS, and entire RICO team, Mr. Dinesh Pahadia, Mr. S.C. Garg, General Managers who has physically come here. Thanks to local administration, Mr. Mukut Chaudhary, SDM Sahab, Nimrana police officers, ASP Mr. Jagram Meena, DSP Mr. Mahavir Singh, SHO Mr. Surinder, and all team members. Thanks to entire government representatives from JETRO, our colleagues from Nimrana Industrial Zones, supplier associates to Daikin, our esteemed channel partners, our architects and consultants, and all distinguished guests associated in development of this institute. Some of them are virtually present and some of them are physically here. Last but not the least, Daikin leadership team, especially our CMD Mr. Java and entire staff and associates. Today all team is feeling pride. Mr. Java's vision has come true today. And thanks to Mr. Kamal Mehta, Mr. Praful Patel, our special guest from our group company, Citizen. Daikin Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence is not just a Daikin entity. It is an entity which requires joining of hands from all of you. It is an entity for the youth of our nation. It is an entity for building a better future for Indo-Japanese partnerships. It is an entity of collaborative growth. For the past 14 years, Daikin has expanded thanks to our engine of growth, that is Nimrana factory. This could not have been possible without the cooperation and love we received from local stakeholders, the energetic people of Rajasthan. I am glad to share that we have started our first batch of certification course in this new campus by selecting students from underprivileged background in and around Nimrana. This batch comprises of girls students also, consistent with our skill mission of empowering women, thereby strengthening our Honorable Prime Minister's mission of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. These students have been selected through a village campaign where we reached out to local Gram Panchayat, Tehsils and Nagar Palikas with the help of Nimrana administration. Objective was to identify students who could not go for higher education due to financial constraints in their families. There was overwhelming response of this campaign from students and their families. We received many applications from students in different villages nearby Nimrana within Alwar district. The selected students are undergoing their training program, which they have already started on 4th April. It is our ambition to train and groom these students at DJIME and make them capable of employment. Initial batches, after their certification course, we shall place these students in our own industry, or they are freedom to go any other industry. The training is being delivered by our internal subject matter experts who have long industry experience. At the end, I repeat, this institute is not just Daikin's initiative. This belongs to everyone who wishes to contribute to upskilling of youth, holistic growth of the nation, is an equal partner in DJIME. We humbly salute your presence here today and solicit your show of strength in the future too. Together we can and together we will. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you. With this, we come to an end of this program. We shall now proceed for a short tour of this facility, which will happen in groups of 20. So our team will support.
Just a small change before we go on for tour. We would request few dignitaries to have the photograph with our guests. So I would request row 1 to come here, please. Mr. Java, Mr. Shanoy. And would request the guests sitting at row 2 to come and please have a photograph with these dignitaries. Please come, sir. Please come. You are. इसको हटा दो.
Hello friends, welcome to Daikin Japanese Institute of Manufacturing Excellence, abbreviated as DJIME. This institute was born from the Memorandum of Cooperation signed between the Indian and Japanese Prime Ministers in the year 2016. As per this MOC, different institutes would be set up in India to train Indian youth on Japanese manufacturing skills. There were 4 companies selected to drive this initiative and Daikin was one of them. This project sought to resolve crisis for both countries, that is improve employability for ranging from 4 to 60 HP which are connected to one VRV outdoor system. There are a total of 6 VRV outdoor units installed in this room, 4 VRV X units, 2 on this side, 2 on the other end of the room, 1 VRV S unit on my left and 1 VRV home audio on my right. We have simulated a controller board which is used in a VRV system to manage the refrigerant flow in each section. This is the controller board on display. Now this is the third practical room, which is the dojo room or assembly skilled bend saw, lathe machine, table drill machine, milling machine, service grinder and die maintenance. Let us have a look at each of these machines. This is a surface grinder. It is a handheld power tool commonly used to cut, grind and polish metal. Also known as a side or a disc grinder, it is driven by means of an electric motor. This is a bent saw machine. This machine is used to teach material cutting process. This is a lathe machine. It is a production machine tool which is used to remove metals from a workpiece and provide a desired shape or size to the workpiece. This is a table drill machine. Job work is performed with this machine and training is given on how to drill on the job. This is a milling machine. It's very commonly used in manufacturing process, machinery shops and industries. Many operations are done with milling machine and any type of object, big or small, can be used with this machine. This is a die maintenance. It is used in making of a product. Repairing of the shortcomings in it is taught to the students. This is our fifth practical room, the brazing shop. Let me tell you the different brazing stations which are there in this room. Brazing is a part of welding. This is a highly desired skill as it is sought in almost all industries. Brazing is extensively used in automobile industry, but also in air conditioning. It is a necessary feature in AC installation. Keeping in mind the industrial requirements, all types of brazing are taught in DJIME like copper brazing, brass brazing, aluminium brazing, silver brazing, etc. Different types of pipes, filler rods and fluxes are used to teach brazing. Let us give you a description of all the brazing stations in this lab. In this lab, there are total of 11 brazing stations, 8 stations where we teach brazing. There are 2 stations in which brazing on heat exchanger is taught and 1 station where brazing on the conveyor belt is taught. In today's times, the need of skilled and trained operators in industries is increasing. Therefore, keeping in mind the present industrial requirements, DJIME will be teaching various types of safety and assembly process training to the young students. Select stations have been set up in this workshop for safety, quality and assembly training in the DJIME laboratory. These stations will impart knowledge and skills that have huge application in all industries, especially air conditioning manufacturing industry. Apart from manual welding, advanced welding is also being taught. At DJIME, we have installed a welding simulator, which is a virtual welding machine to improve the basic techniques of welding. This not only saves a lot of material cost, but also ensures that students learn the technique of welding safely on a simulator before practicing on real tools and machinery. Through welding simulator, the welder is trained on all types of welding like MIG, TIG and arc welding. They learn all types of welding positions like downward, horizontal, vertical and overhead welding. These are different welding stations in this laboratory. There are 3 stations for CO2 welding, 1 station for arc welding, 1 station for TIG welding. Apart from this, there is 1 lab for spot and projection welding, 1 lab for welding testing lab, 1 for metal grinding and 1 lab for plasma cutting. Now let me take you into one of the CO2 welding labs and see how welding is taught to students. This is the lecture room. We have 6 of them. Let us.
और यहाँ का इन्वायरमेंट बहुत अच्छा है और यहाँ पे जो प्रोग्राम है HVAC स्किल इन्हेंस प्रोग्राम है जिसमें एयर कंडीशनिंग से रिलेटेड HVAC हीटिंग वेंटिलेशन एंड एयर कंडीशनिंग मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से रिलेटेड जो भी डाइकिन करती है उसके हिसाब से हमारी ट्रेनिंग होगी और प्रैक्टिकल होंगे। थैंक यू सो मच।
आपको ये DJIME कोर्स ज्वाइन करके कैसा लग रहा है?
After joining this DJIME course here at Daikin Institute, I think this course will give a real boost to my future endeavors as I'm going to learn a lot of techniques related to Japanese manufacturing. Thank you.
ये कोर्स हमारे लिए काफ़ी महत्वपूर्ण है और सबके लिए अच्छा रहेगा, उनके फ्यूचर के लिए भी और और सभी स्टूडेंट के लिए और कंपनी के जितने भी एम्प्लॉयमेंट हैं उनके लिए भी बहुत अच्छा सीखने के लिए एक मौका है यहाँ पर आकर.
How do you like the new DJIME campus?
Campus is having all the good facilities like a cafeteria, laboratories, classrooms, lecture rooms and garden in the middle. Thank you.
Where we are standing is the computer lab cum library. On my right hand side there are workstations to accommodate 24 desktop machines. Students will be provided computer skills like Word, MS Excel and presentation skills. On my left hand side you have racks where library books will be kept, so students in their free time can just browse through different books which are both available in physical form as well as on online form in the machines. This is the conference room. This is mostly to be used by staff, but for virtual trainings this room will double up as a training facility for trainers who are sitting in remote location, and students can access that virtual training sitting in this room. This is the faculty office. So we have total of 12 workstations in this office. So 12 plus 8, 20. At any point of time we can have 20 staff working in DJIME. We also have 4 counseling rooms here. So for any student-teacher one-on-one interaction, these counseling rooms can be used. This is the cafeteria. This is where students and staff are going to have their meals. There's a total capacity of 48 people who are going to have their meals here. We have an attached kitchen where food will be prepared fresh and provided to the students. With this, my friends, we come to the end of the tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, this is just the start. Together, we can contribute to nation building and societal development by upskilling our youth and making them more employable in the industry. On behalf of the entire fraternity of Daikin, me and my team wish you all the very best. Goodbye, stay safe, stay healthy, sayonara.
पधारोनी मारे देश रे पधारोनी मारे देश केसरी